The session right now is all about India's Space Policy Ideathon Geo-Niti 2026, organized by SIA-India in collaboration with SGAC. It is a first of its kind national space innovation and policy platform aimed at building a long-term talent pipeline in space research, Earth observation, and geospatial intelligence. And without any further ado, I would like to call our eminent jury. Joining us on a web call is Dr. Professor P.G. Diwakar, Director, Chanakya University. Sir, we welcome you. And then we have Dr. Sudheer Kumar, former Director, CBPO, ISRO, and VP, XDLINX. Sir, we welcome you too. Dr. Upasana Dasgupta, Assistant Professor, Jindal Global University. Ma'am, can we have you over here? Last but not the least, we have Ms. Nikitha C., co-founder, Genex Space. Can we have you here too, ma'am? A huge round of applause to the eminent jury. Now I would also like all the team members who were present day before yesterday. We are not starting with any particular order, but all the best to each one of you. I hope whosoever wins, can we have everyone please settle down? Thank you so much, guys. I wish each one of the team members a huge good luck, and I'm sure you will deliver your best. May you win or not, I think it was worth it to come over here, right? All right, so I will start with, sorry, just. All right, I would just repeat the rules once again. The presentation should not exceed 4 minutes. Prior to that, there'll be a buzzer which will be displayed and buzzed. So please, it's a humble request. We're already running behind the schedule, so please stick to your 4 minutes. And also, right now, we will not have a feedback since this is the final round. Maybe any remarks if you would like to sustain, that can be done, but not a full-fledged feedback. And apart from that, I think let's start with astrophages. Can we have the team over here? Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. It's working now? It's working? Yeah, it's working. Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are Team Astrophages. My name is Asmi, and these are my teammates, Proshmit and Abhishek. Under the track Coastal Resilience and Blue Economy, we've proposed Coastal Ecosystem Resilience Framework. We all know coasts all the world are facing degrading effects from climate change. Shoreline changes, mangrove depletions, and coral bleaching. To combat all of these problems, we've come up with CERF. CERF uses Earth observation data from Vedas, INCOIS, MOSDAC, etc. And it integrates it with historical intelligence analysis from 30 plus years of ISRO-proven and NRS archives. After that, a vulnerability velocity score is generated, which tells us the pace at which the ecosystem is changing. That report is given to the panchayats. The panchayats send local teams to see if the ground data validates the EO data, and then a confidence score is generated, and funds are mainstreamed to that part of the area. In CRF, we have fragmented the coastline into coastal management units, and there are 8 typologies: urban, tourism, fisheries, etc.
Now, let us look at some of the stakeholders that gain benefits from you. So let us look at the government and authorities which get proper access to global funding, as they now have a EO-backed method to verify their findings. They now have faster evidence-based decision-making system, and that leads to reduced disaster recovery costs. And because of this, they are now also compliant with SDGs and CRZ mandates internationally. The private sectors and investors benefit because this leads to reduced climate risk exposure to the industry. The improved investment certainty also, make sure that they are investing in the right places, and they also get recognition for resilience positive projects. And the coastal communities, which are the most impacted, they benefit from employment opportunities to restoration, insurance premium reduction, faster disaster assistance, and improved fishing and livelihood security. Now let us look at a few of the other existing areas around the world which use similar systems. In California, AI and nature-based solutions are used for sea level rise planning to make sure that the coastal areas are in well-mandated rules of what the projected sea level rise is. And in Kenya, where the central government has made sure that the funds are rooted well into the local level.
Okay, here we can see some data for Goa. That is, we see the data for coastal erosion specifically, and also mangrove mapping, which are 2 very important aspects for coastal climate change. Now we look at a specific case study of how we will implement, that is mangroves. Mangroves are very important in the sense of blue carbon. That is, mangroves help in 3 ways. They absorb the impact of waves. They also improve the water quality, and hence they prevent algal blooms offshore, and they also protect coral reefs, which are also very important. Blue carbon basically is carbon embedded in the seabed, and mangroves account for almost 10 to 15% of carbon burial. Yeah. Now let's look at the funding mechanism for this specifically. The previous slide. So here actually we'll show the implementation workflow. Here CERF detects the threshold breach, and then the information is immediately sent to the SCZMA about the breach, and then SCZMA has a limited time to verify this data, so that to check whether there is no error in this satellite data. Now the notification is passed to the NCZMA, which has to now release a mandatory directive for conservation. If the SCZMA fails to submit its report within 1 week, then the data shall be deemed legally valid, so that there is no delay. Yeah. The funding mechanism is that the National Resilience Coastal Fund we have in this will derive from CAMPA for mangroves and green bonds also. There shall be pre-authorized bank accounts at the district level coastal committee, and when the NCZMA issues the emergency directive, this immediately triggers a transfer to these particular bank accounts. Now the accountability here is that if there is a delay in verification of the data, then the member secretary of SCZMA is responsible. If there is a funding delay, then the joint secretary of MOEFCC is accountable. And if there is an executive failure, then the district magistrate is accountable for this. What justifies this action is statutory negligence under the EPA, and also supervisory negligence. Yeah, next. Now what if the topic comes under the union list or state list? Mangroves come under concurrent list. So here we can follow that. For union list, we follow the exact same procedure, difference being that verification is also done by the NCZMA. And this for the state list, if it is there, then the policy can, there are two ways: either the policy can be implemented by the state itself, otherwise the center has a supreme powers using the EPA, and also the, because of Article 253 under the Constitution for international treaties. Also, there can be a memorandum of understanding between MOEFCC, coastal government, and national fund, but we will not go into that. Thank you.
Diwakar sir, you have any point to say?
No specific comments from me because mostly I could not see the video.
Yeah.
And even audio was pretty bad. I could not hear properly. But nevertheless, there were some points which we had suggested on 15th that has been sort of incorporated, I would say, or addressed. But I still feel that the existing policies in the coastal areas, ocean and coastal areas, need to be properly integrated as part of the proposed policy. That is one very important thing which possibly could have been addressed a little bit more better so that you exactly know the gaps and what exactly are the gaps we are trying to address. No doubt the blue economy was brought in, that is good, but I think it was just mentioned, but there are a lot of things related to blue economy and carbon. Anyway, thanks. I think they have made some progress with respect to the previous presentation. Thank you.
Okay, sir. No, I agree with Diwakar ji, because some improvement is there. But rather than making the penalties whose responsibilities, let us say you come out with the policy means ultimately how that institution ensuring and regulation will come out. Because you are telling he is supposed to do. If it is escalation matrix, nicely you have put it. But in spite of all these things, where is the monitoring mechanism? Okay?
Monitoring using EO data and also on ground level.
The monitoring the policy, let us say you have proposed something, if that is not adhered to, you have provided the escalation. Who monitors it? After that, escalation will come after monitoring. Who will monitor it? Okay. You know, this is the recommendation. You please incorporate that one. Okay. Then it will become a at least a primary paper in the coastal region. Okay. All the best. Thank you. Can you go to next? You have something.
Can we have the next team, Albedo Space, to please come up, introduce your team members and the project, and you have 4 minutes to present. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ashutosh Gantagaria, and along with me, I have Omkar Anshuman Panda and Om Shakti Sarup Singh. And our proposal is SAKAR, Satellite-Aided Airshed Assessment and Knowledge for Air Regulation. India's climate challenge is not a lack of, is not a lack of effort, but a lack of visibility. It's not a lack of effort, but a lack of visibility. The pollution sources are poorly tracked, and source apportionment remains ineffective. And due to this, stubble burning and episodic events like stubble burning and coal-related emissions do not get timely intervention. Now, Omkar will continue.
Here we have a pivot.
we already have NCAP, which has blindness. We fight blindness with precision, evasion with omniscience, guesswork with verification, and desertion with algorithmic. For example, the current NCAP monitors PM10, which is very coarse, but the actual problem comes from PM2.5 and it ignores it. As we have already known in the case of subtle burning, NCAP is very inefficient with time-shifted episodic events. And guesswork, like if only 90 out of 130 non-attainment cities have been completed, then the other 40 cities can only guess what's the source of the problem. And desertion, it relies on manual inception, vulnerable to human bias and corruption.
SACAR operates through 4 mechanisms. First is SVSAM, that is satellite verified apportionment source apportionment, which uses atmospheric observation to identify likely pollution sources at a fraction of the cost of conventional satellites. Second is AFHIP, that stands for All Hours Fire Intelligence Platform, which combines geostationary and polar satellite data to detect crop residue burning throughout the day and guide preventive intervention. Third is CAMRI, that stands for the Coal Airshed Mortality Risk Index. It identifies districts facing highest health burden from coal-related emissions. And finally, DAPHS, that is Decision Support Dashboard, that converts satellite observations into alerts and health advisories and regulatory action. Now, Shakti will continue.
Of course, satellite can monitor and observe, but they lack the ground reality. So, SACAR proposes 2 methodologies. First is using public infrastructures. We can deploy IoT-based solutions which are portable and can be installed on industrial-based household rooftops. And second is student verification layers. When the algorithm, the DAPHAS, detects any anomaly, it can deploy the student verification team to verify why and how the anomaly is occurring. Next slide. So here is the 4-step verification that I am talking about. First, the satellite anomaly is detected and DAPHAS will alert via TROPOMI and insert datasets. Second, the State Pollution Control Board will automatically deploy students, anonymous students, to capture geotagged ground-based truth. Third, when the anomaly is detected and it is properly verified, the next is taking the legal action. That has 2 things, that is Section 31A of Air Act, and the prosecution can be initiated by electronic evidence of satellite evidence by Section 63.
Like if we have a complex policy, we must have a multi-layered funding also. For the feasibility, we have 2 pathways. First is the DMF pathway, for reasons like where coal is the problem and SO2 mitigation. There, the district mineral foundations must allot 60% of fund to high priorities areas so that they can work under the system and the money will be used for the SACAR employment. And then there is CSR pathway, where we have here 2 problems. First, where the industries are the problem, and the other where the community is the problem. If we are tackling industries with community, then we must tackle community with industry itself. We must deploy startups who buy bio-produced materials for their products and use them, ask them to buy it. So that's the solution for CSR pathway. If we talk about the cost model, there are 3 parts of it. First is the one-time workflow and the API integration. It will cost from around 1.9 to 2.8 crores. Then there is the annual operation, which will cost around 50 to 83 lakhs.
and the ground enforcement will be taken completely by DMF and CSR trust allocations. The final thing is that we have the satellites, we have the data, we have the law. We just need to integrate everything to produce a result. Thank you.
Diwakar sir.
Yeah, thank you. There is I would say again, there is a good improvement with respect to what we heard on 15th. But still, I would suggest that there were a couple of things which could have been done. For example, if we had looked at NCAP critically, identified the gap, and possibly also seen any other policy for, let us say, air pollution elsewhere in the world, and compared that with NCAP, and then brought in the technologies to bridge the gaps, could have been the right approach, I would say. But of course, you've slightly gone in a different direction and tried to address the policy issues, and also tried to also implement, go towards the implementation also. But air pollution and clean air problem across the country happens due to various reasons. Whether the NCAP captures all the reasons is my question. I think that possibly, if you had addressed it a little bit more deeper, it would have been even more interesting. But anyway, there is a good improvement from last time, and thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay, sir.
I just want to add one thing that, I mean, what you were saying, that's true, that there are things which are not integrated, there are things that's there, but that's, I think, is another thing that you could also have done. Like, for example, you said a good example about the implementation pathway, the funding, and then you also talked about how the policies to be made. So, but the thing is, I think and also the laws that are there. But I think it could be integrated slightly better. I mean, by itself the elements are making sense, but then the integration could be more, comprehensive, and they should be connected.
Yes, you suggested the mechanism. Mechanism is your recommendation. How do you make it policy? Policy is something that enforcing. See, policy is like legally challengeable thing. Your recommendation of escalation fund, all are your recommendations. You agree with me? But how to please put it as a policy? Policy means, who are the policy makers? What is your recommendations to the policy makers to implement your mechanism, your suggested mechanism? Okay? So bring such kind of things into the, when they say policy, policy is not your recommendation. Policy is somebody who enforces that one to implement. They are the policy makers. What is your suggestion to the policy makers? Also can be covered. You add that one, then it will become a reasonable proposal. Okay? Okay, thank you. All the best. Nikitha? Yeah, next please.
Thank you so much, guys. Can we quickly have Dhara Netra, the next one? Guys, please restrict your presentation to 4 minutes. Thank you. Can we have their presentation quickly, please?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, honorable jury and all. My name is Rajlakshmi and my teammate Sai Jyoti. We are presenting an EVO-enabled policy framework for drought resilience in Prakasham district. Our goal is to transform earth observation data into actionable governance at the panchayat level. Prakasham is one of the Andhra Pradesh's most drought-prone districts, with 55 of 56 mandals affected. While platforms such as ISRO's Bhuvan, Vedas and SGAC provide valuable earth observation and climate data, there is currently no integrated framework that systematically converts these insights into automated, decentralized policy actions and governance triggers at the panchayat level. Our vision is to build drought-resilient panchayats through EVO-driven governance. We focus on 6 objectives: drought detection, timely intervention, water security, climate smart agriculture, institutional capacity, and accountability. Four-pillar framework. Dharanetra is built on four-pillar framework: baseline assessment, integrated drought intelligence, policy triggered and resilience actions, governance, capacity building, and accountability. Together, these pillars convert climate intelligence into coordinated decision making. My teammate will continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. We generate a Panchayat drought resilience score using meteorological, agriculture, hydrological, and socio-economic indicators. This score classifies Panchayat into green, yellow, orange, and red categories, enabling quick identification of risk level. Come to next. Based on the dot score, the system recommends action automatically, from awareness campaigns and water conservation measures to groundwater recharge, crop insurance activation, and emergency relief. Interventions are linked directly to risk severity. The process begins implementation flow. The process begins with EO, weather, and field data collection. A Panchayat climate profile is created, drought risk is assessed, policy actions are triggered, and recommendations are integrated into Panchayat climate action plan with continuous monitoring. Expected impact. Dharanetra improves preparedness, resource planning, groundwater management, agriculture resilience, and water security. Most importantly, it creates climate resilience panchayat through proactive governance. Finally, I conclude that Dharanetra does not create new satellites or new data. Its innovation lies in bridges the gap between existing Earth observation system and government action, ensuring faster, smarter, and accountable dot management at a grassroots level. Satellites already see the dot. Dharanetra ensure that government act before communities suffered. Thank you.
Sir, Diwakar sir.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. As I was indicating to this particular presentation even the other day, that mechanism in India does exist through Ministry of Agriculture, and it is enacted through the National System for Disaster Management. Drought is one of the disasters under the disaster management system, and there are existing policies to address drought, and Ministry of Agriculture does address all the aspects of drought, the ones which you mentioned, and there is already a monitoring mechanism and data generation that does exist. The states also take part in that, the districts also take part in that, and it goes up to the national level. And even at the national level, the number of districts that come under drought monitoring is also pretty well understood and mentioned. I felt you would have gone through these things and would have addressed these things as part of your policy suggestion, and would have identified a gap, identified set of gaps, and would have suggested a new policy. This is what was required. But somehow you touched some of the areas, but not all areas. You have touched all the different types of droughts, no doubt, which is important, of course. But you didn't mention anything about what MNCFC is already doing. What is the existing policy as part of the National Disaster Management? Because it addresses already the drought. And you could have addressed it through the gaps in the drought mechanism that exists today. So these things, if you add on, no, then possibly your policy could get into some limelight. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, you want to? The same thing, because no, as is last time also he told very clearly, the policies are there, especially in the agriculture, disasters management, whether they are following it or not. If they are not following, what are the impediments? Why they are not able to follow? Is it that the people who are do not have enough resources? People do not have sufficient, let us say, what you call authority to execute that one? Why it is not done? Let us say if you enable that one, maybe some deep diving is required. Probably for your level, the study is much better, I should say. But probably, no. See, for your level, you have to, within a short span of time, you can't do the ground truths. Okay, you have to go discuss with agricultural directorates, you discuss with so many other people, farmers. You have to do lots of survey also to beat the gap. But it is a good attempt if you can go and study 1 or 2 villages. When something has happened, why they are not able to predict or come out or get the proper help. If any gaps are there, let us say they may say, I don't have anything to come and I am not aware. So awareness, creation awareness could be a policy. Yes, see, this could be a policy, creating awareness every day, every month, 10 hours of awareness every that Raitu Mitra or somebody should go and talk. When they go and take the signatures of all the farmers, this could be a simple policy. Yes. Look at it in that angle. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Last team, please.
Can we quickly have Andromeda over here? Once again, repeating, you've got 4 minutes for the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Vinay Reddy, and I'm from Team Andromeda. I'm with my team member, Rudrani. So, our present topic addresses the challenges of agriculture, climate, and rural livelihood. So, for this, we are proposing a platform called CAMIP and a policy protocol called CMSP. So, the problem statement has been expanded from the previous presentation. So, earlier our problem has addressed only the deficit, but rather considering the points, we have expanded the problem statement from deficit and also the surplus. So when we consider the deficit of the agriculture produce, the consumers are affected, but rather when we consider the surplus of the agriculture produce, farmers are affected, where the prices crash all the way to 1 rupee per kg as well at the market yards. So thus from this problem statement, both the consumers and also the farmers have been addressed. And there were multiple news reports where they have been mentioned, multiple recordings has been happened.
So let's move into the little technical framework of this. So what CAMIP is, it's a multi-layer climatic intelligence to market intelligence framework, right? So we take data from 4 intelligence platforms, EO data from Bhuvan Mosdak, agriculture data comes from MNCFC, and market intelligence comes from ERAM, and of course the weather intelligence gives us the weather forecast and different entities. So what happens is this data is of different size, format, and frequency. So we take it through a data harmonization and pre-processing layer, which will perform spatial and temporal alignment, handle the different values, and give us a proper generate engineering features such as different types of anomalies, and give us a process data. This process data will later move on to the climatic intelligence machine, which will basically generate an impact of how impact of floods, rainfall, and heat is going to be on the area, and it will give us an index. Thus, that index is later integrated with the crop specific vulnerability, and we will estimate a yield loss or an expected production for that, which later goes on to a market intelligence engine, where we integrated with the expected production, expected demand, and what we basically get is a market imbalance score. Based on that score, we can see whether the commodity is moving to a supply surplus or a supply deficit. And then CAMIP is basically taking a decision of dividing the market into 2 different CMSP categories. One is for deficit and one is for supply surplus, with associated with the scenarios and responses that are to be taken in that particular scenario. Let's move on to the protocols.
Yes, based on the data we get from the CAMIP, so we divide the regions where there is surplus and where there is deficit, and then the policy would be implemented. Here the framework is that where it is divided, from there where there is deficit, from the surplus regions we transfer the required produce to the required regions, and where there is surplus it would be transferred, vice versa. So here the decision making would be once there is detection of surplus or deficit. Over there a committee would be formed comprising of all the 3 departments, and then based on their suggestions the protocols would be implemented. So here we align with the National Space Policy of 2023, National Geospatial Policy of 2022, and also the Agriculture Mission, where it is allowed all of the data which is available for the public to be integrated and to be unified to produce the intelligence data to be implemented. Yes.
You are telling decision will be taken by a body. That's okay. But let's say if that
would be given by
no, it is an open thing. No, yes, see, I wish to do, but what that committee is supposed to do, and if that committee recommendations are there, again I am telling you who will monitor that one. If that is not complied with, what is the punishments or what is the what you call corrective actions? That should be a little bit one more slide you should have done that one. Okay. No, basically policy means what? I am only talking about, see, your implementation is extremely good because you are collecting the data from different platforms, integrating it, identifying, let us say MEP or e-marketplaces, allowing them, let us say if a surplus is there, who will take that surplus? Whether it is essential that they are a created surplus, is a deliberate created surplus, is it the one which is basically Haryana, the same thing, no? They'll keep producing it without looking at the demand. Whether that is creating a kind of penalty on the MEP and storage warehouses, if such kind of things is how to curb that one. See, something around that one, because intelligence, embedding, integrating software, all these things, okay. Don't leave it that somebody will take some decision.
CAMI would essentially give you what exactly you are supposed to be done. But instead of leaving everything to an engine, if there is a department which would take the suggestions as well, and we are integrating both the machine mind and also the
I agree, Reddy. Yeah. See, you are creating a platform to enable the decision.
Yeah.
That is fine, up to fine. Okay. After that decision making, who will take the decisions, that also fine. Yes. But the policy comes into picture, who are authorized to take decision. Let us say that authority, when they take the decision, who will implement. When implementing is not possible, how to correct it, or how to impose the penalty, or how to correct it. These are all the policy decisions basically, no? If that is not there, what happens? Okay, decision will be taken. Okay, 3 people will ad hoc. Policy cannot be ad hoc. Policy should be uniform. Whether X is there, Y is there, Z is there. Policy is policy. It will be adhered to. Okay. Okay. Sir, Diwakar sir, you have points to say?
Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. I do see remarkable improvement in the presentation, especially the point that I had highlighted with respect to the deficit and overproducing means extra production that takes place in the food grains, that has been pretty well captured. Yes, it looks like you have used the ChatGPT pretty well also. Yes, that could be very clearly seen in the slide.
Just to save time, we had to use
it. Anyway, it's a complex problem. Again, I repeat, as it was done for the other participants also, appreciating the existing policy and finding the gap and addressing those gaps would have been the right approach for all the 4 of you participants. It applies to you also. But of course, you have tried to integrate the policy, especially the geospatial policy at the end. That is an appreciable thing. Yes, but today, what is the existing scenario? For example, on one side, you are taking multiple parameters with respect to what do you call agricultural produce and so many other things. On the other side, you are talking about the markets, and that is the most complex area. Market is the most complex area. Yes. So market regulation with respect to the production, and then meeting the requirement of the country, and then later looking at the other countries or neighborhoods or whatever it is. Yes, that is the way one should go, especially when you really implement the policy. I feel there some extra effort, if you are able to put in, you can still evolve reasonably good and accurate policy points. That's what I felt. Okay. But there are multiple challenges in policy framework, especially for this particular problem, because agriculture and the policy related to agriculture with respect to various aspects has been addressed by the government, including recently when there was a lot of turmoil with respect to the middlemen, what do you call, linkages to the market and things like that. Such things have to be addressed as part of policy. Otherwise, we don't reach anywhere. But I do appreciate that you have captured the essence of what we told the other day, and you have been able to rightfully incorporate that. Thank you for that. But a few more interesting things could have been added. Possibly you need more time for it. Thank you very much.
I just want to make one small point that it's really good that you have grounded it in some of the existing policies. I think there could be more policies you could ground upon that. The second is that what policy recommendation you are making, that is not very clear. So it's one thing to ground yourself in whatever existing policies, but it's another that you have to also say that there has to be one policy recommendation that you are making, but that was not clear. So
I am very happy to conclude the 4 teams have done a reasonably good job, because understanding the application and diving down into some kind of intelligence and finding out whether it is possible to implement or possible to, let us say, deviate or derive something out of it is important. I am very happy at this, let us say, stage, you people started understanding the actual utilization of the space data, space applications to the ground realities, ground truths or social problems. Please continue the same thing. Okay, don't lose the spirit. Please continue the same thing and study well on the government policies and try to identify the gaps and start questioning. This age, yes. Last time, maybe 1 or 2 more rounds when you do, it will become a good policy paper. SIA has to compile these things, give them one more chance. Don't go for winner, runner, something like that. Okay, give them one more chance to consolidate with the recommendations of PG sir and other the team. Let them submit with the final recommendations and it will become a nice paper. Thank you. All the best.
Sure, thank you, sir. We will consider the thought. I will also speak to all the main management people for it. Although, thank you so much, our eminent jury, for dedicating time. You have been such a wonderful one. I understand to evolve such integrate details and having them put through is one thing. I'm sure they want to take it away. Congratulations to each one of you. You have done a phenomenal job. I understand the wheel starts rolling a couple of months back and a lot of research and development goes beyond. Having said that, as I said before, participation is more important than winning. And to that, I will close this entire session, and sadly we are closing the last session for ISC 2000 Track 3 2026. Congratulations to each one of you participating. And I would just request every team member to please be at the part of the closing ceremony. We have some important announcements to be done over there. And as suggested by sir, I'm sure Ashita can take it forward and speak to the people out there in the management. But thank you so much once again. And I would request, since we could not have any tea break, you could just have some tea break and then head it over straight to the closing one. Yes, please. Let's come have a group photograph. I'm hoping we all can come together in the one frame. Thank you.